Child, please. I know that's right. Big. Girl, bye. Shut up. I know you lying. Wait. What? Say what now? Ain't no way. It's just not giving what it was supposed to get. My man. Yes, honey. You giving me live. Oh, you did that. You did that. Child, please. What's going on, good peoples? It's your girl, Miss Kecia, with a little chat and chew for you. All right, let me start off with my disclaimer. As usual, all thoughts and opinions and experiences are my own and those of my guests. This platform is used to share experiences, help encourage, and engage in healthy conversation with candor and truth. All right, good people. As you know, we are still in Women's History Month. So today we have the Dr. Sameana Bond with us. Today we're going to take a little different directions. What I want to do is I want to highlight different women, their successes, and the road that they had to take, because everybody's road is different. Yes, we all experience a lot of the same things, but everybody's road is different. So last week, Doc came in and she was dropping the nuggets. This week, Sameana's going to come in and she's going to tell her story. She's going to tell her story from, being that young lady going off to college, and she's done so many phenomenal things. Challenged her, pushed her beyond her limits, and she succeeded. So this one is going to be a little bit different from Doc's. Doc kind of took us with the whole, she started out raised with all brothers. She had all these different occupations before she really truly tapped into her purpose to, marrying young, becoming a single mom, then, marrying again. While she was in her purpose, and how God just took her around each obstacle, over each obstacle, under each obstacle, but how her road was, kind of wild and, whiny. So Sameana's going to take us on her path. And ultimately, what I want everybody to take from these phenomenal women is this: no matter what it is, no matter what your path is, you can do it. God is he doesn't favor no one. He's already given us the tools. You just got to tap into that power. That's what I want everybody to take from this. So enough said about that. Oh yes, please let us tap into the 80s with I'm getting in touch with my whole Donna Summers. Yes. And the 80s. Yes, I'm here. And all I can hear is Donna Summers in the background. Yes, I'm there. Okay, so without further ado, here is Dr. Sameana Bond.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, absolutely, my girl. Absolutely. So, Dr. Bond, I'll call you that in the beginning.
Okay.
Tell us who Dr. Sameana Bond is.
To keep it short, I am a person who is a very dedicated educator, and a person who my life's purpose is to help people, specifically kids and their families.
That's awesome.
So overall, if I had to put it in a nutshell, that's who I am. I'm a person who is dedicated to educating and dedicated to helping kids and their families.
How about this? Tell us a little bit about your background. Where do you come from? how many siblings you have, just give us a little history on how you kind of got to where you were able to identify this is something that you wanted to do. You wanted to be an educator.
Right. So I was born in King Street, South Carolina, which is
Ooh,
a small
oh, King
town.
Street.
Yeah, Williamsburg County,
Mhm.
small town about 45 minutes away from Florence. Until I was almost 5 years old, I lived in Hemingway, South Carolina, which is another small town. And at that point, my mother decided that she didn't want me to go to school in Williamsburg County.
Okay.
She wanted to have a better education system. And so we moved to Florence. Uh,
Okay.
and we moved to Florence, and it was funny because we came from a single wide trailer. I remember it was a white and orange trailer
That's what's
down
up.
the
That's
dirt
what's up.
road. Yeah, down the dirt road. Um, and we'd be running around, no shoes, nothing, all this. So that's where I came from. Um,
Hmm.
and then we moved to Florence, and we moved to a neighborhood that was predominantly white. And when I say predominantly, I mean like we were like the third Black family that moved in.
Oh, wow.
So there was some issues with, things being burned in our yard, and there was some racial tension there,
Wow. Wow.
and it was
And
kind
this
of
was
scary.
around what time? Like
This
the
was
80s,
I was
70s,
around
late
1980.
70s?
This is like around 1980.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not that far from where we are now.
Right, right, right.
So you would think that at that time that kind of stuff wasn't happening, but it was.
I mean, it's absolutely happening now.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. They didn't want us there.
mm,
And it got better. Of course, I went to the illustrious Wilson High School and
absolutely.
graduated
Go Tigers.
with right. So I believe purple and gold.
That's right.
While I was there, that is when I found out that I wanted to be an educator.
Okay.
The way my mind works, as I grew up in school, I thought that I wanted to be a mathematician or a scientist. And
Hmm.
in all actuality, I'm not far from that. But I didn't factor in the education piece. Truth be told, this is truth in advertisement. I did not come to education because of any good reason. I came to education because I had a car and I was driving to school,
Uh-huh.
and I knew that if I got in trouble, my parents would put me back on the bus. And a friend of ours, actually, uh, I will say her initials are TB. She told me that there was a class called Teacher Cadets,
Uh-huh.
as a senior. And in Teacher Cadets, you could leave school and be off campus. You had to leave school because you had to go to the school where the student that you were paired with
Okay.
is
Okay.
so that you could help them. And so, in all honesty, I really wasn't interested in helping any little kids. I was interested in
Helping
keeping
yourself.
keeping my driving privileges and being able to leave campus and having that little bit of freedom. But what happened, that was God.
Yep.
I was paired with a young man in fourth grade named James. And what I was told was that James was, what is the label they put on our boys so often? He was at risk.
Mhm.
And of course, I'm a senior in high school. I know nothing. I've never
Mhm.
even thought about education as a career. And I was like, at risk of what? So they informed me that at risk meant that, if we didn't do something,
Mhm.
that he could turn out to be a menace to society,
Mhm.
and be undereducated and kind of a lot of really bad things,
Yeah.
off on drugs and all of these things because he was at risk. At that time, I didn't know what I know now, or I would have asked him, so what assessment did you use to determine that he was at risk?
Right.
Who
Right.
developed that assessment? What's the reliability? I would have asked a lot of questions, but I didn't know
Right.
any better. And so they gave me a little bit of background about James's family situation, which wasn't a terribly good family situation, but James was failing,
Mm.
specifically in math.
Wow.
And he just wouldn't do the work. The teacher would put the paper in front of him, he would push it aside. And so it became a behavior problem.
Mm.
And so he was selected as one of the kids that we were paired with. When I first met James, he wouldn't even talk to me. He wouldn't even look at me. So they put us in our little room, and I'm supposed to be helping him with his math and talking to him and those kinds of things. And he wouldn't, nothing. Well, so then I started going to his classroom and just watching him. And I noticed that underneath his desk, he was counting on his fingers.
Oh, bless his heart.
Right? And so, you know, when we were in school, we had to do mastery tests. So it was the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and it was a big deal. 100 facts, you get the certificate. You know, it was a big deal. James was having problems with that, and he was embarrassed. And so, even as a senior in high school, I figured, oh, he's not doing the work because he's embarrassed because he doesn't know his facts off the top of his head.
Yeah.
And so we had a conversation, and that was the first day that James actually looked at me. And I said, so, you know, I'm in high school, and don't you know sometimes I still have to count on my fingers?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, me too. Fingers, toes,
And he
ears,
looked up at
hair
me.
strands.
Like, he finally raised his eyes, and he looked up at me, and he looked at me. He didn't say anything still. He looked at me and kind of cocked his head like, what? You know,
Right,
like,
right,
you're
right,
an
right.
adult.
There's nothing wrong with me. Like other
Right,
people do this
right. He's
too.
like, wait, what? And so I said, so what I found out is I'm a global learner. I'm a kinesthetic learner. I need to touch things. I need to feel things. If you want me to know what 4 + 4 is, give me four buttons and give me 4 more buttons, and then I'm gonna tell you.
Right, right. But see, you know, they're so quick. The system is set up to so quickly label our kids.
Absolutely.
So I think in that situation, that was a perfect example
Yeah.
of this,
Especially our
the
boys.
system being broken.
But what was interesting, and as I look back on it, I saw it at that point, it was like, wait, she is who he saw as an adult, you know, because he's in 4th grade, I'm a senior in high school. This is an adult who still counts on her fingers.
Yeah,
But that
right.
didn't make him totally comfortable. But then there was
Because he saw it as normal. He saw it as normal.
right. But then there was the additional pressure being placed on him that he had to do this just like that, real fast. You know, he had to spit those facts out. And so this is when I started understanding more about myself in math and more about math in general, because I had struggled with math. So no one would have ever thought I would have turned out to be a math teacher.
Yeah, well, not being as though you would struggle in math.
Right, right. But my struggle in math wasn't really my struggle. My struggle in math was the education system struggle, because the education system has this expectation that they are to put information in front of you, and they're supposed to tell you something, and you're supposed to memorize it, and you're supposed to do it. And if it doesn't work like that, then there's something wrong with you. Or I would be in class, and I was in an advanced class. However, the teacher would say, does everybody understand? And I don't know if you remember my mother, but I had a mother at home that if I brought home the wrong grades, it was gonna be hell to pay. She informed me that what she better not ever come to a conference and find out is that I didn't ask a question. And so when the teacher said everybody understand, this was me.
I know that's right. Yeah, not me.
Nobody else is raising their hands, but I'm battling with, I know what's at home.
Right.
Okay, I gotta raise my hand. And I did it so often, the class would start laughing because they knew, you know, get ready to raise her hand, watch this. But I was asking the same questions that they had.
Right, that's what I was just about to say. Yeah.
Right, they had the same questions, but they weren't asked. So what happened was, eventually, I didn't get the example in the textbook. I would say, okay, so what you mean is, and I would couch it as a basketball question or a bowling question or something that I enjoyed, or a game question. I would couch it in those kinds of situations, and the teacher would be like, yeah. So as that happened along, the next year, the teacher started, when the kids didn't understand, my friends didn't understand. Sameana, can you explain it?
Right. You could break it down to a level that they will understand. Yeah.
Because it was a different perspective. Like I didn't get when she was giving it to me, right? So whenever I was working with James, I put together what I figured out for myself. And then as I was looking at him as a young man in fourth grade, I thought, man, if I would have understood this in fourth grade,
Yeah.
I would have been so much better.
Yeah.
And so then he and I started working with, what do you like to do? What do you do when you having fun? What do you do? You know,
Right.
and we started actually having conversations about his life.
Mm-hmm.
And so through having conversations about his life, we were able to get to the math.
Mm.
And so then he started feeling more comfortable because
Right.
even though he couldn't pop off the facts
Mhm.
just like this, he understood the math.
And it gave him it improved his confidence, I'm sure.
Right. And so what started happening over the course of that year was James ended up being good at math.
Mm.
James ended up having a B in his math class when James wouldn't even write his name on the paper.
Wow, that's awesome.
Right. And so the feeling, we were in our little room and we were going over the facts and he said, I got it. And then he started spitting them out one day. And when he did that, something inside of me just lit up. Something I never felt before. I know it sounds corny and
No,
it
no, no,
and
no.
all of that.
Everybody's purpose hit them different.
Yeah, like literally in that very moment with James, when he said, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly he was able to spout off those facts. But he wasn't spouting them off because he memorized it. He spouted them off because he understood the math.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm gonna go ahead. I said, I did that.
Yeah.
Right?
Something to be proud of. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds kind of like, I guess overconfident or whatever. But in that moment as a senior in high school, I was like, I did that.
Right.
Wait, I did that?
Mm-hmm.
And I felt so good. I just was like, I gotta have this feeling. And literally, James is the reason that I'm an educator right now.
So when you went to so tell us about your journey to getting your PhD.
So as everybody else, I want to make money.
Absolutely.
And since I didn't discover that I wanted to be an educator until I was a senior in high school, almost at the end of my senior year, then that meant I didn't really know that teachers didn't make any money.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it drove me. It gave me purpose. And what I found out about myself is that I can just work a job and make a lot of money, and I'm not happy.
And not have no fulfillment. Yes.
But I'm not happy. It's empty. And so I figured out a long time ago that regardless of the paycheck, I had to be happy doing what I was doing, or I was miserable. Like literally.
And I think that's with all educators, hats off to educators, because you guys are, you guys are freaking awesome. And to say that you get paid what you get paid, you have to be in that. And I know there's those ones and twos and threes.
I was just getting ready to say, because I keeps it real.
Yeah, that
all of us are not.
Yeah, that they're in it, not because it's a passion for them, but
right. Now, if you had now I'm telling you, if we had an education system where everyone was passionate about what we're doing and we did the right reason, oh man,
the kids would benefit so much more than
because at the end of the day, really and truly, as educators, we fuss about not making any money, but really and truly, the only people that are really suffering are
the kids. Yeah, because the kids spend. You got to think about it. Majority of their, growing up is spent in school, spent with a teacher or a daycare provider or something like that. So, yeah.
So I knew when I started the education program that I wanted to go further. And I'm a certificate girl. Even now, like I want my certificates. Let me
put it up on the wall.
Yeah, let me put this on the wall. That's because let me tell you, I figured out I can't dance. I like to, but I ain't good at it.
You better two-step.
I can't draw. I would like to, but I ain't good at it. I can't sing. I love to, but I'm horrible at it. So that it's just like let me go through this list of things and let me be real with myself. But one thing that I was really good at is learning.
Okay.
I was good at learning. I could do school. And so since I knew that, I said, okay, I already knew the first day of registration of my freshman year. I had a 5-subject notebook, 5-star notebook. That was the thing. That the 5-sub notebook with the pockets. In the front of my 5-star notebook, I had my whole 4-year schedule already written out. When I
Well,
met
it'd
with
been different if you just said you had a trapper keeper, but we gonna keep
well,
it
no,
moving.
trapper keeper, that was a little earlier on.
Yeah, he said I had a trapper keeper.
Star was like, a little bit more. So I had that schedule written out, so I already knew I was going to get the master's degree. And so I waited for about 6 months. I got my bachelor's, waited about 6 months, got the master's. And then I thought that I wanted to go to medical school.
Oh.
But I hate biology.
Okay.
That's the problem.
You need to have to do that.
Right? I avoided every biology class that I could. I did everything I could not to take biology classes in college. And then I got out and decided, oh, I think I'll take the MCAT.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, not that bright. Yeah. That's the way that went. And then I realized, oh, shoot, I can't even get in medical school. I got to go back and take these biology classes that I avoided.
You got to get the prereqs.
That wasn't happening. Okay. So I said, okay, I got to find an alternative. And so when I was working on my master's, I had a professor, Makram Bashara. He was from Egypt, and he taught measurement classes. I didn't even know what a measurement class was. But I'm in my master's program. He's teaching measurement, and measurement meaning all these tests that we're giving these kids all the time, these standardized tests, the statewide assessments. And so he taught the science of developing a test.
Okay.
Right? Remember I told you I'm a science and math person. And so he taught the science behind it. And that, for me, click, 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 click. I was like, oh, I get that. A multiple choice test is not just something you do because it's easy to grade.
Okay.
A multiple choice test is specifically for the purpose of testing a wide range of topics.
Okay.
And it's developed in a way that every option is a feasible option if you don't know the right answer. No gimmies, no, I'm going to rule out these two because they don't even make sense. No, there's a science to it. And so once I started learning that, I was like, oh, this is so cool. Geeky, whatever. I think it's cool. Okay. So I started talking to him, and he informed me that he actually was a college professor because he enjoyed teaching, but he made twice as much money just doing consulting as a measurement specialist.
Oh, okay.
And of course, this spoke to my spirit, girl. I said, what?
More money. I
said, wait a minute. You said what? Because you make what I make. Actually, you make more teaching at this university than I make teaching at my school.
Yeah.
And you're telling me that you make twice as much on your consulting job that you don't even do all the time.
Wow.
How do I do this?
Well,
and so he said that it was a psychometric program, or program in measurement and education. And he kind of pointed me in the right direction. And when I started doing the research, I was like, okay, I want to make more money. I want to do education, but I also want to be able to do things outside of education.
All right.
I want to be like him and be able to be a consultant and get paid outside of just my regular everyday job. And as I did the research, a program came up, and it was educational psychology.
Okay.
Educational psychology was basically the science of testing, evaluations, developing surveys. Everybody thinks they can develop a survey. Sure, you can write some questions, but that doesn't mean that the data you get is going to be meaningful.
Okay. All right.
What you're doing, right? And so once I started learning that stuff, I was just like, okay, so I picked up my second master's, and then I picked up the PhD. But again, it wasn't really a straight path. It was a kind of, let me figure this out as I go.
Right. Until you got to that point where your purpose was fully ignited.
Right. When I realized that, wait,
this is what all of this really has been leading up to.
Right. And then as I look back, I realized that my discontent with some educators, with my own education, but specifically the educators that worked with me,
Mm-hmm.
and the way that they handled children and the way that they tested and all of these things, that it bothered me. And this was a way to fix that.
Ah,
And this is because guess what? I could learn this and then I have more stuff in my toolbox.
right.
And then I can go back and I can teach other educators this stuff. And then they
Right, right.
better.
So it's bigger than just what you can do for the kids,
Right.
but now is what you can do to help the educators
So
ultimately
they
to
can
help
help.
the children.
Right, right. And so that ended up being my drive was, oh, all teachers need to know this
Mm-hmm.
because all teachers are expected to test. All teachers are expected to interpret data from the statewide tests. All teachers are expected to teach kids about their data and interpreting their data so they can know where their pitfalls are and their strengths are so that they can work on it. Well, but if all teachers haven't been given the tools, because
Mm,
the undergraduate
right,
programs
right,
and even the graduate programs many times don't address those issues, you
right,
can't expect the educator to do something they don't have the tools to do.
right.
You know,
Absolutely.
it's
That's a good point.
and
That's
then
a good
even if
point.
they have the tools, you got to show them how to use it because
Right.
education is notorious for
Mhm.
jumping on this program and that program and another program. And so they got a lot of tools and nobody's showing them how to use it. Nobody's giving them the time to be able to implement it properly or going back and evaluating and helping them tweak and get it right. Like
Right.
the education is notorious for that. And so
And
for
that's ultimate. And if the educators have this information and have these two,
right,
then they can ultimately affect what the children are learning,
right.
which is going to help them to be successful on these standardized tests.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And then even back when I was that senior, and remember I said I was having like conversations with James. Then tell me about your life. I realized even in teaching, having those conversations allowed me to then do what I had to do for myself
Mhm.
back in school, which is couch the content in situations that are familiar to the students.
Right. That's awesome.
So if I need to teach you positive and negative numbers and it sounds crazy, you know that there's a such thing as a bank account.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know about taking money in and out. You know about football. You love football. You know about losing yardage. You know about gaining yardage.
Hmm. Hmm.
I mean, even if we're talking about slopes and lines, you know about, passing a ball and you know about the angles at which you pass the ball to make it easier to catch. All of those things tie into that curriculum, that content. And so everything that I was doing, it all just kind of came together with the things that I was learning as I was looking back. So, I had to go for the PhD. I didn't want to stop with the EDD because I was like, I gotta have that big certificate. That
More,
terminal,
more, more
that
stuff for the wall. More stuff for the wall.
I want that terminal degree. Like there's no degree higher than the PhD. I need that in my life.
Of course.
And so it didn't help that Dr. Bashar told me that basically I could write my own check if I did it. I was like,
Yep.
wait, what?
That always helps.
I can
More
write my own
money,
check.
more
Wait,
money,
wait,
more
wait,
money.
what you mean I can write my own check? Like I can write a check from my bank account, like what is that? And so yeah, that was my path to the PhD. But what I will say is this, and I have to give credit where credit is due. Family situation isn't what I would like it to be for a number of different reasons, but if not for my mother actually saying, because whenever I applied for the program, that particular program had higher test scores
Uh-huh.
that you had to get, especially in the math, because it's a
Mhm.
lot of statistics.
Mhm.
And it also had the
Listen.
PhD. It has many, many opportunities for you to basically just be kicked out. It's like I could get in after my first 3 classes or 4 classes. I had to take a qualifying exam. I get 2
Mhm.
chances. If I don't pass it the first time, I get one more chance.
Right.
And if I don't pass it that time, I'm out of the program, period.
Wow.
Then it was okay. Then you take your comprehensive exams at the end when the professors finally stop adding classes. Then because that's what it is. The PhD program is not a set program with a set
Okay.
classes. They have the core classes, but then your advisor and you are supposed to work together to decide what your focus is going to be and add classes. except sometimes you have your course of study and they decide, oh, this class popped up, I want you to take this one, and you're not about to say no because you want to graduate at some point. So
Oh, okay.
it moves. So you finish all the classes and you think, whoo, it's been a 6-year journey, I'm done. Take your comprehensive exams. You have 2 times. My comprehensive exams were not take home. My comprehensive exams were, we can test you on anything that you've learned in the last 6 years.
What?
And you are to come in at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you're in a room. We give you your questions, and you have until 12 o'clock to answer everything. And you do that for 4 days in a row.
What?
The first time I took my comprehensive
Yeah.
exam, I didn't pass all of them. I failed one of them. And I passed 3 out of 4. Doesn't matter. I had one more shot.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I couldn't take it back to back. I had to wait like another 6 or 8 months to be able to take it again. And I was able to do that and I passed. But then guess what? There's another opportunity for you to get kicked out because you still have to defend your dissertation.
Ah.
So you write your dissertation and you get through it and you think, whew, good.
No, not
And you
good.
defend. And if it's not acceptable, they won't pass you. And so you
Oh,
have one
wow.
more time to get it right. And if you don't get it right, you're out. So at that point, you're ABD. You may see some people, ABD is all but dissertation
Uh-huh.
because they haven't completed the dissertation part because either they just haven't done it or they've been dismissed from the program.
Oh, wow. That sounds like
So,
you need a bottle of Xantex for them
so when I
6 years.
read up on the program before I applied, I was going, they got 3 times, like, you already did all this, paid all this money, da 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 da, and then they can still kick you out.
Yeah.
Oh, and my mother said, you can do it.
Yeah.
And like I said, family situation is what it is. I have to give credit where credit is due.
Mm-hmm.
If she would have been like, yeah, that, woof, I might not have even applied. But she didn't do that.
Well, that's great that you had that support from your mom. But so let's just dive into that a little bit. So when you say family situation, because I know you and I have talked offline, and
Right.
we both feel like our family dynamics had a lot to do with a lot of the choices that we made and ultimately pushing us into what it was God purpose for us to be doing because, not to say we're any better than anybody else, but we had that drive to keep going.
Right.
Whether it was somebody like our mothers or whomever,
Right.
telling us we could do it, just keep going. I
Right.
know it may be hard or whatever the case may be, but I know that we both, we're from a small town, Florence ain't that big.
Right.
Everybody know everybody and everybody talking about everybody. So
Absolutely.
so just like I guess what I want you to explain to us is like what are some of the obstacles that you had, even like what made you to decide that you wanted to adopt? Let's start there. What made you decide that you wanted to adopt?
I didn't want to just have a baby for a random person.
Got you.
And I love kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I always knew I wanted to be a mother.
Mm-hmm.
And so
were you not dating, or you just
I was
decided
dating.
not to date?
I was dating, and so there was one instance where I was dating, and I had started the adoption process because I was like, I'm single. I moved to Iowa.
I remember, and it was
Okay.
cold up there.
It ain't only cold. What I learned moving to Iowa is that although initially I lived in a predominantly white neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
at a lot of my jobs, I was one of the few minorities.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it doesn't matter. I'm comfortable in the situation. And so when someone said, oh, there's no black people in Iowa, I was just like, so I'm good.
Right. Because you were comfortable in your skin. You were comfortable, you were whole. So it didn't matter. Right.
I thought I was. But the dynamic that I didn't expect was, even though I might not have been in a workplace with a lot of people that look like me, I was able to see people that look like me around. They didn't
Okay.
have to be working with me. They were in the restaurants. They were in the mall. They were in the neighborhood. They were at the school. I could see people that looked like me. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand that that's a huge impact on our lives
Yes.
that we don't always qualify or quantify, right? We
Mm-hmm.
don't think about how important it is to see people that look like us,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I was in that, I don't know, fantasy land that, uh, I got family or whatever. It doesn't matter where I live. Girl, I got to Iowa.
Yeah, you didn't see no people, huh?
Girl, because I'm a researcher, so I did the research and I was like, oh, it's 6% minority, which was like two
In the
and a,
whole state of Iowa?
in the whole state. But
And you
minority.
and when you saw 6%,
Mm,
you said,
mm.
"Oh, this sounds like a good idea. I'm gonna move to Iowa."
I said it'll be all right.
You did?
It'll
Oh,
be all right. Right?
yeah.
And I really thought it would be all right.
Uh-huh.
And I got there and I think when I saw 6% minority in my head, it said 6% black,
Oh,
but it
you
wasn't.
automatically associated
Right,
minority with black, but
right.
6%, I mean, no, 6% is still a whole 94% that's not minority.
Again, I was like, I'll be all right.
Okay, it was a learning experience. I understand. Okay, go ahead. I'm
Honestly,
sorry. Mm-hmm.
the other part of it was, had I stayed in South Carolina, I probably would have been in somebody's mental health facility. I needed to leave South Carolina.
Okay.
Okay.
All
I
right.
needed to break some ties. I needed a clean break. I needed a clean start.
Mm-hmm.
Because the one thing, and I shared this with you offline, you cannot get well in the same place that you got sick.
Amen.
You can't even see that you're sick. Okay? So I need
Amen.
to go. So maybe that's why my mom
Pass
was
the
really
plate.
right.
Time for offering.
But girl, listen, I got there and I realized that it was more like 2.5% black.
See?
And of that 2.5%, about 2% didn't speak English. They spoke French.
Oh, wow.
They
Oh.
had been transplanted from the New Orleans area.
So you saying the 6% was inflated. It was really
6%
2.5%.
minority, which really translated to about 2.5% black,
Mm-hmm.
which really not translated into about 0.5% of people that talk like me and look like me, because the rest of them couldn't communicate with me and I couldn't communicate with them.
Okay.
So, and this is fun. This is funny because I'm thinking, okay, I don't see anyone that looks like me. And I guess over the phone, maybe my voice, people say you sound black. I guess I didn't sound black. I don't do
I
no
mean,
hair.
none of us sound black when we
Okay.
on we're doing an interview
Look,
or a bill
look.
collect call.
Right. There you go. Bill Clinton. So
No,
look,
none of us sound black. Hello. Hi, yes, this is her.
exactly.
How can I help you today?
So I don't do hair. When I was in Florence and I was teaching, I used to go to the salon on Wednesdays and Saturdays
Uh-huh.
to
You
get my
didn't do
two
that in
wigs.
Ohio.
Okay.
Iowa. Where you was at again?
Iowa.
Iowa. My bad.
I
Ohio
don't
got black
do
people.
hair. I don't do hair. I do a lot of things. Hair ain't one of them. So
Whew.
I call the salon.
You wasn't doing no hair when you was in Iowa.
I make the appointment. I get off from work. I go to the appointment. I walk in the door and everybody's head turns and
Yeah,
looks at me.
because they're wondering,
Like I
you
got
need to pick
3
somebody
eyes.
up.
So I'm like looking around behind. I'm like, what's the hell? They're looking at me like that's all. And so the little reception, she comes up. She's like, may I help you?
Are you lost?
And I said, I have an appointment. And she looked at me, girl, and she said, I will never forget this. She said, oh, we don't do ethnic hair.
Oh, not we don't do ethnic hair.
Yes, we don't do ethnic hair. I,
Don't.
I mean, what do you? So let's just say that I tried to perm my own hair,
Oh Lord, sweet baby Jesus.
and not only did I try to perm my own hair, I tried to cut my own hair, and I thought that I could just feel and pull, and the length would be right.
Oh,
And what I discovered
you think
after
you did?
a
I'm sure you
while
discovered something. I don't know if it was what
is
you were
that
looking for.
there was some patches and so if you look back at my Facebook pictures from back
that
then,
explains it. Now I understand, because I used to be like,
I have a extremely short. There's this one picture, and I remember I met Alfred Woodard on the plane coming back home to come to my graduation party because I graduated. Literally, I graduated like on Saturday, and I was gone on Sunday. Okay.
Yeah.
So I had to fly back for the graduation cookout. And when I flew back, my hair was kind of slick.
Ooh, not
and
slick.
extremely short.
It's not slick.
Oh yeah, it was slick from that perm that I didn't wash out properly.
Not it was slick.
It was slick. It was slick and thin and short. And so I told my best friend, I said, I need to go to the barbershop. Like, I don't even know what else to do. I just need to go to the barbershop. I had never been to a barbershop for them to do anything at all ever in life. And I was just like, y'all need to do something with this before I go to the house.
Oh my word. So were you at Iowa? Were you at Iowa when you decided, okay, I want to adopt?
I was.
I ain't gonna be just dating random people.
Yeah, I was.
Trying to have nobody baby and be no baby mama or whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with being a baby mama. I understand things happen. I mean, I was a baby mama, but I don't have babies no more. So
right, like, so I just didn't want to. Like, I was just like, I just don't want to. Plus, there's all these other kids that need homes, and then I'm an equal opportunity dater, right? So I didn't really care what race she was. My pastor introduced me to Joe. And Joe was the white boy with the long beard. Some people said he looked like Charles Manson, but whatever. But Joe loved kids and families, but Joe loved other people's kids. And we were dating, we were pretty serious. And so he asked me to pause.
So you dated someone that looked like Charles Manson?
I didn't think he looked like Charles Manson, but I overheard some folks saying some mess like that.
Who did you think he looked like?
I thought he was handsome, honest. Actually, be honest, you really want to know? Jesus. You know that picture of Jesus that your grandmama have on the wall?
Okay, all right.
He had long hair.
Jesus. Okay, all right. Let's get back to the train.
But his hair was so long, it was down to his knees.
He had hair like wool.
I would braid it in 2 ponytails.
Oh, sweet God, you going to heaven. You are going to heaven because you dated Jesus. All right.
You know what? I'm going to say this and I'm going to get off of that. You're right. I am going to go to heaven because I did the right thing while I was dating Jesus.
That's what I'm talking about, sis.
I did the right thing.
That's right. You going to heaven.
I do the wrong thing.
All right, now let's get back to about my little friend. All right,
ask me to pause.
Telling me how you came to the decision to say, so said, I ain't gonna be no baby mama. I'm gonna go out here and find me a baby. God's gonna give me one of these little babies out here.
But we're dating. We're looking at houses. We're talking about getting married, and he asked me to pause and wait to see where we were going. Right, and so I was like,
"How old was you at this time?
How old was I?"
Yeah, like
let's see, I graduated with my PhD in 2008, so it was 2009, 75, like 34.
Okay. Okay.
So he was like, well, I know you started the adoption process, but could we like put that on hold and see where, we're going? Well, as it turns out, Joe wasn't trying to figure out where we were going. He was trying to figure out if he wanted to have kids of his own.
Joe didn't want to procreate.
And he did not. And so we broke up. And at that point, I decided ain't nobody gonna ever stop this process again.
Right.
I'm a woman. I'm gonna date. And ever who I date is just gonna have to deal with it. If they can't, then I ain't gonna date them.
That's right. They ain't supposed to be there.
Right. And so I left Kansas about a year later. I guess not Kansas, Iowa. About a year later,
I was going to say, how did you get to Kansas, Dorothy?
I took a job in Kansas. I moved from Iowa to Kansas.
Okay.
And I started the adoption process again. And
So
initially.
how was the adoption process? Like, you see on TV, like, the sad part, and they be like, the mother be like, oh, I don't want to do it no more. Like, did you have any of those? Like, what was the process? I know it had to be like super emotional.
It was very emotional. It was very they all up in your business, girl. It's worse than buying a house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they all in your business. They want to know your family history, how you get along with them. I mean, I had to have friends, family, co-workers write letters of support. Are they all in your finances? Because I was a single person, I don't know about
I got you.
Kansas, I was required to have someone else that in the event that something happened to me would take care of the child that I adopted. Initially, I was going straight for adoption, and I started working with an agency called Downside. And Downside, if anyone's thinking about adoption, Downside is a fantastic organization. They minimize the cost of adoption. They work really well. They're a faith-based organization. I can't say enough about them. But they did my home study. But going through that, I wanted a young child that was healthy. And honestly, one of my requirements was that they look like they could actually be a part of my family. Because I didn't want and I didn't want the additional of.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
No,
Like having to explain why they're
all the
different the
time,
older they get.
right?
Yeah.
Right, and so I didn't want that, and so they explained to me that you're probably gonna be waiting a while because most of the young kids that are healthy, their foster parents adopt them, and I was scared of foster care because I heard so many horror stories.
Right.
They told me that that was the only way, and so I said, "Okay, well, I'll sign up, but I'm not giving back no kids." And I said the double negative. I meant the double negative.
No, okay, all right. I ain't giving back no kid. He mine.
So the whole time we're in this training, they're the goal is, putting the family back together. Girl, I'm sitting at the table like I done told y'all.
Y'all ain't getting him back.
Y'all would have to have me extradited with the kids because I'm gonna be out.
And you got connections with Jesus, so
I repeat, do not put a child with me that you want back.
That's right.
All right. And so then they finally was like, well, you can say that.
And I was like, you can't say that?
I'm saying that. Like whenever you fill out the paperwork, like if you don't want a kid that has brown eyes, I don't want a kid that got brown eyes. Like it's that detailed.
Oh, wow.
I don't want a kid whose grandmother was strung out on drugs.
Oh, wow. Really?
That degree. Yeah, it's to that degree. And so I was like, I don't want a kid that I got to get back. I want a kid that's adoptable.
I'm pretty sure that wasn't an option, but we just wrote it in.
Yeah, I mean, I was just like, not doing that. So I did it, and it was very that experience. The foster care class was probably the most emotional thing that I had to do. I've posted several times. It's a transition thing.
Yeah, I remember.
The perspective of the child. It's this is the perspective of the kid.
Right.
What's wrong with me? Why do I have another mom?
Right.
Why don't you ever want me? It's I get attached. Oh, let me do everything I can to see what it's gonna take for them to throw me away again.
Oh, sad face.
And girl, tears.
I know, sad face.
And then I almost
babies out here.
I went through all of that, and I almost gave up. Because I got a call from my social worker and said, we have these 2 children. Their mother passed away last year unexpectedly. Their older sister has been trying to take care of them, but she has like 4 kids of her own, and we need a placement for them. 3 and 6 years old, a boy and a girl. I was so excited. They were like, "Oh, where you get to meet them for the first time next Friday, girl." My best friend done sent presents from Nebraska, boy and a girl. I'm just getting ready. I'm excited. And then Friday comes a week later, and I'm waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And finally, I call, and my social worker informs me that they had to place them with someone else because my apartment, I have 2 bedrooms. I have the bedroom set up with 2 bunk beds for kids, but because my thing was if there was a sibling, I wouldn't split siblings up. I would take both of them.
Right.
Apparently, at least in Kansas, if the kids are 3 years or more apart and they're of opposite sex, they can't be in the same room.
In the same room.
Girl, I was like, well, I can redo the home study. I can get a bigger part.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It broke my heart so bad. I was like, I can't do this. Like, I can't.
Yeah, I bet it was a super emotional roller coaster.
Yes. I was just like, I can't. I'm gonna go in the military.
Oh my God. Not I'm going to the army.
That was like my first, because you know me. I was all about the ROTC.
Yep.
Loved my gun. The only reason I didn't stay the whole time was because I graduated early. I loved it, and my boyfriend came. My mom sent my boyfriend to the recruiter station to pick me up when I was gonna do it, and I never did it. So first thing I'm gonna just go ahead and go in the military.
Oh my God.
It ain't too late.
You done got all these trophies on the wall, and now you talk about you finna go to the army. What the world?
Hey, so about 2 weeks later, I get an email from my social worker who says she's been trying to call me and I wasn't getting a call. And so I call her and she says, I think we have a placement. This was on a Wednesday.
Okay.
So this is on a Wednesday. And she says, I think we have a placement. It's a young man. He's 4.5 years old. We believe that his father is African American. He's healthy. Those were my requirements. Okay. And it's an emergency placement. We have to place him like immediately. And I said, okay, when can I pick him up? And she was like, you don't want to meet him first? Healthy.
He ain't taking no chances this time. I'm on my way.
Right. Healthy, under 7, look like could be my child. I'm good. And she was like, oh, okay. Let me call his social worker. She calls his social worker. His social worker calls me and says, I really want you to meet him first. I was like, look, all I need to know is what the car seat requirement is and when I can pick him up. So she convinces me that she needs me to meet him. So we meet at McDonald's and I meet him for the first time. And he gets his little McFlurry, his little Happy Meal, and all this. And then we're getting ready to leave. And she puts him in the car, and I'm at my truck getting ready to leave. She said, wait a minute. Can I talk to you for a minute? Okay. Do you still want him?
What?
I said, that's exactly what I said. I said, what? I said, wait, so people actually meet kids and spend time with them like this and then tell you they don't want the kid? All the time.
That's so crazy to me. Oh, that's so sad.
I said, Jessica, look, I told you yesterday I didn't even have to meet him, okay?
Right.
I don't care. I have minimal requirements. Yes, I still want him. So I got the call on Wednesday. I met him on Thursday. On Saturday, I went to his biological grandmother's house and picked him up.
Okay.
I went to Burger King, met with his CASA worker. And then we went to Target. He picked out the Spider-Man theme for his room. We Spider-Man'd it up. Everything Spider-Man. We bought him clothes. We went to the Famous Footwear and bought him his first pair of name brand sneakers that he was busting out of and didn't want to give up later.
How old was he when all this happened?
4.5.
Oh, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, and then we went to see
when you got him, but not like
we went
hip small. I know he was like
we went to Romeo and Juliet. And so I have all this stuff. We've done this. We've gone to eat. We've done all this stuff. And then I have to take him back to his biological grandmother's house. And so I tell him, I said, so.
What? I thought we was taking him home now.
Yeah, so I had to wait. So I take him. This is Saturday. So I take him back and I said, so you are going to come and live with me on Monday. So I have to take all of this to our place. And it'll be there.
He was so sad, you know?
Yeah. So I busied myself on Sunday, putting everything up, putting his little name on the outside of his door, and all of this. And then I asked his grandmother to send me pictures of the family, and I took pictures of my family, and I integrated them in the picture frames.
Oh.
So that he would be a little comfortable in the room.
Right.
And then I put up everything. And on Monday after preschool, his social worker came to my apartment. Everything that he owned was in the trunk of a Honda Civic, and it wasn't even full.
Oh,
Took his little stuff out, and he's been living with me ever since.
oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing. And the thing is, like, kids know, right? So his casa worker's name was Marty, and she met with him every Tuesday. So I got him on Monday. So on Tuesday, she came for dinner, and she was getting ready to leave, and her nickname was Marty, Miss Marty. And I sent him to the bathroom, and I said, "Go ahead and start running the bath water," because I showed him the day before, and I said, "Start running the bath water, and I'll be in there." And he said something, and I thought he was calling Miss Marty. Now he lived with me Monday night. This is Tuesday night.
Uh-huh.
And she looked at me and she said, "No."
He was calling you mommy.
She said, "No, I think he said mommy." And I said,
Oh,
"No."
that's so
And
sweet.
yeah, girl, I almost fell down the stairs.
Oh my gosh.
And he's never called me anything else.
That's so great,
I was
Sameana.
just like,
See what
"Yeah,
dating
no."
Jesus got you? Oh my gosh.
Girl, dating Jesus, you're right.
Yeah, you dated Jesus and look at the doors that have been open for you. Holy moly.
Yes, you know my theme song is "I thank him for it all."
Yes, girl,
Yes.
that's so awesome.
So yeah, he's been with me ever since.
Now, did you
And
do your PhD after you did adoption?
what now?
Did you do your PhD during or after you did
I already
adoption?
had my PhD when I
Oh,
adopted.
yeah, I was going to say, I bet that was like a
Get
lot of
this.
stress.
So I
Yeah.
was engaged when I got the call for AJ.
You was what?
I was engaged.
To Jesus?
No, I had moved to Kansas, girl. Me and Jesus had broke up.
Oh, okay, yeah, I forgot. Jesus was in
And so
Ohio.
I would
Iowa. Okay.
Iowa. And
So you was
so
engaged to
I started dating this guy. He knew
okay.
that I was going through the adoption process. In fact, he put together the bunk beds for me. So
Okay,
he
well, at least he
knew.
was good with something.
He had a daughter,
Mhm.
a 7-year-old daughter. Well, when I called him after my social worker called me, and I shared with him that there was a young man, 4.5, and he was going to be placed with me, and he was adoptable, so he wouldn't be going back nowhere.
Mhm.
He informed me. Well, he didn't inform me then. He sounded less than enthused. I thought he was having a bad day at work. This joker came over to my apartment that evening and basically explained to me that he thought that adoption was off the table. I don't know why he thought it. We ain't had a conversation, but he thought that since we got engaged,
Oh,
adoption.
he was trying to impregnate you.
I don't know what he was trying to do, but
But not today, huh? I know
not.
that's right.
So he was just like, but it's a boy, and I wanted to have my own son. And I was just like, you're supposed to be a God-fearing man. This is an
Yeah,
opportunity
he's
to
a
be
child that needs a
a,
home.
a father in the life of a young man who doesn't have
Right.
one in his life.
Right.
Like, what? So
Right.
he basically gave me an ultimatum that night that I was either going to choose him or I was going to choose the child that I didn't know. Right. You're going to choose me or you're going to choose this person, this child that you don't even know. I said, so let me say this.
Throw him back. Throw
As
him back.
any real woman to choose between a grown-ass man
Yeah.
and a child that she don't know.
A child, period. Like, what?
Look, guess who ain't getting chose? So I said, I'm gonna need you to get up off my couch
And pack your stuff and G-O.
Girl, no, I don't roll like that.
Not pack.
When his stuff was at his house.
Just buy.
Bye. So I was like, exit stage left. And so I was
But
like,
he wasn't a part of your purpose.
but I didn't have time to mourn because guess what? I had AJ immediately.
Yeah.
So this out though.
Yeah. So how was that like? Because single parents, we endure that, from when we push them out, if you're a single parent, when you have a baby,
right.
like you have that experience, maybe not like that specific with the details, but you have that experience where you don't get time to, be tired or get time to have a bad day or get time to, something bad happens, mourn or somebody pass away or whatever the case. You don't really have that time. So being as though you went from single to having a 4-year-old child, I could only imagine that was a,
that was God
finding a rhythm.
Yeah, that was God in the situation because had I not had AJ come in, I would have been like, oh, woe is me, you know,
Yeah.
XYZ. I didn't have time to do that. And I was angry because I
Mhm.
was like a grown man trying to make you choose
Yeah,
between
like,
this.
that's just
No.
doing too much,
And
bro.
so yeah, that's just not
Yeah,
acceptable.
yeah, yeah.
Like, you know. So I mean that ended up being our story. And AJ will be 16 on April 27th.
Yes, he will. He is an outstanding child. Young man, excuse me, young
He
man.
is a good
He
kid.
is awesome. So, okay, this is the last thing. Well, no, I got one more question I said,
Okay.
but this is the last thing because I know you married later in life.
Yes. Yes.
So how did you like after that? Did you like go through a period? Because I know I went through this period to where I was like, I was supposed to get married, then we called
Mhm.
off the wedding, and I was like, okay, I ain't doing men,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
too much for my life.
Mhm.
So, you know, did you have an experience like that?
I did.
Or
I
was
did.
it like, okay, I have my
Right.
son now, my career is good, I'm gonna put myself out there. And then meeting, did you have like in the back of your mind, what if I go through this same again, like meet somebody and I have to, they give me this ultimatum or whatever,
Right.
like, they don't accept me because again, as a single parent, you want somebody that's going to accept you and your child because you come as a package.
And not even just accept them, but love them the way that I would.
Exactly. Yeah. All of that. You that's what you want.
Right.
It ain't just me. You get me and these kids, bruh.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
absolutely.
So how did that go about when you met your husband and y'all went through the courting process and
So
y'all had that beautiful wedding and all of that?
that was actually AJ was in 8th grade when I got
Mhm.
married. And in the interim, yes, I did date, but I grew up in South Carolina where many kids have many uncles.
Yes, ma'am. And I
Many
was not finna do that. I don't know about you. My kids don't
Right.
got no
And so
uncles
because I
like
saw
that.
that, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. My
Yeah.
he ain't about to have about 15 uncles
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
find the right one. And so I didn't want to do that. And so I would date, but I would have a babysitter and I would never let him see the person.
Hmm.
And then I remember so I moved from Kansas. I took another job. I took a job in Nebraska.
What's up with you and these?
And so in Nebraska, when I would go out and I would date, I came back home one night, and no, I was getting ready to go out on a date. And he said, how do you know? How do you know he's not a bad man? Now, mind you, my child is 5, 6 years old. And he says, "How do you know he's not a bad man?" I'm trying to tuck him in. He trying to ask me if it's a bad
Yeah,
man.
yeah. Like, who this joke is you going out with, mama?
Right. And I said, "Well," I said, "I guess I kind of have a feel for it. He's not gonna hurt me, but or I wouldn't go out with him. But if you're worried about it, I'll tell you what. I will wake you up and let you know that I'm in the house safely."
Hmm.
And he said, "Okay." Okay. I still didn't get it though. It still didn't hit me why he was saying what he was saying.
Right, right.
Um, until his teacher called me in for a conference one day and informed me that AJ had been telling people that his parents were getting married.
His parents.
Right. So my job in Nebraska allowed me the flexibility that I was able to go and participate in his class a lot and that kind of thing. So they were familiar with me, but the kids never saw his dad.
Right.
In the Midwest, it's a little different, a lot different than it is on the East Coast. People get married very young. They have kids and families. They're like 20 years old. And they got 4 kids and been married 3 years.
Wow. No, wow. Ooh, that's a lot.
And so
Who is
basically,
this?
my running joke was, if you want to get married, you better take him with you, because you ain't about to find him there. Um, and so it was a crazy kind of dynamic. It was hard dating, and I didn't understand. I knew where he came from. I knew some of the struggles he had, but I didn't really understand. So those kids, every single other kid in his class had a mom and a dad that lived with them.
Okay, I get it. Yeah.
And so he was feeling some kind of way about it because apparently they were asking him about his dad because they always see his mom. And so, but his teacher was also adopted. So she got it.
Okay, got it.
So I was like, how am I gonna broach this topic with him? So we're sitting at dinner And I say, so I hear I'm getting married. I'm gonna need you to let me know when, because I got to get my hair done. And I'm kind of making light of it. He looks up at me like at first, like, whoa. And then he starts laughing. He was like, oh. I was just like, I just want to know who he is, so I can. And he starts laughing, and I said, why did you tell your classmates that? He's like, I said, do you want a dad? And he says, yeah. I said, so do you want your dad to live with you? I don't know.
Yeah.
So you want a dad, but you don't know if you want to live him to live with you. And I said, okay.
Oh, sad face.
Right? And I was like, like in my head, I'm like, what dad
Yeah.
do you wanna live with? And I knew some of the history of the boyfriend.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was like, okay. Fast forward to that night, and I have this little desk. I bought the whole little desk that we used to have when we were in school with the little chair you push up, you put your stuff inside, and it
The
was in
one
it.
they give the soldiers in the barracks. I got you. Go ahead.
So I'm sitting on his trunk, and he's finishing up his little homework or whatever, and I'm sitting there, and he says, I said, why don't you want your dad? You want a dad, but why don't you want him to live with you? And he said, because he might throw me down the stairs like Nick.
Oh, sad face. It was a big adjustment. He got a new mommy, then y'all moved and y'all moved to where everybody got a mommy and a daddy, and it's like, I don't want to be left out.
Right, right.
Oh,
And here's
sad
the kicker.
face.
I was already like, oh wow. Like I knew that happened. But they're kids and sometimes they don't
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
this
Kids can
happened,
be
right?
hard sometimes.
And so I said, AJ, I would never allow somebody to do that to you.
Yeah.
I would have them in jail and locked up. And he said, Kristen did it. Kristen didn't. Kristen is his biological mother. And his thing was, she let him do it and she ain't do nothing about
Yeah,
it.
because that's all he knew.
So, girl, when I tell you, it ain't much that can keep me quiet, but I was speechless. I didn't even know what to say.
Yeah, I
Right?
bet.
So at that point,
Trauma,
I made a
unfortunately.
hard, but I
Yeah.
made a hard decision at that point, and I promised him in that very moment that I will not ever bring a man into your life that can't love you the way I love you. They
Oh,
can't love you the way I love you. You ain't got to worry about them being around. Period. And I stuck to that. And so I dated throughout the years. And there were a couple situations where it was he met people in the same situation that I met them, and we were, dating or getting to know each other. So he knew them because of that.
uh-huh.
But outside of that, no, I didn't do a bunch of, oh, this is my boyfriend, this is my
Right,
son.
right, right. Yeah, no,
Do
I
that.
feel
And
you.
then my husband, again, God, I've never had the most confidence for a lot of reasons. And so my husband he ain't got no game. He been trying to date me for
Now
2
he
years.
ain't got no game.
I didn't even know, girl, I didn't even know that he was trying to holler. And it was 2 years had passed, and finally we had a situation, and I was like, I think he trying to talk to me. Hmm.
Now, which one of y'all ain't got no game? Is it
Now,
him or you? Because you like, oh, I think he's trying to holler at me. Like,
no,
you ain't
I just wasn't using my game because I wasn't in that mode. I wasn't thinking about
I
like I
got
wasn't
you.
looking.
We get like that. Us single
I
women,
mean,
we get like that. We
my
like
husband, I was
have
like
that
work,
tunnel
kids,
vision.
home,
Yeah, yeah.
get this extra money,
Mm-hmm.
head down at the desk,
Yeah,
and he
just
would come. He was the
doing me.
custodian. Listen, he was the custodian in my office. He came in and out that office. The one thing that really stuck out to me, well, he had some good hair. I was like, oh, he got good hair.
Not
But
because he has some good hair. Lord have mercy.
listen, but that's what I noticed though. And then I noticed that my son would get off the bus and come to the school board building and come to my office after school. And many adults would walk in my office and not even speak to him. They just ignore that he's even there. Not even say, hey, we're from South Carolina. If we pass you 5 times, we
Yeah,
gonna say,
like, hey,
I can pass you 5 times in 5 minutes. I'm gonna
if
say
you
five.
want, I'm gonna speak everything. You all right? Okay, girl.
And it bothered me. Dexter, every single time he came in that office, he would not only speak to AJ, he would have like a little conversation with him. Hey, my man, what you doing? What you up to? Blah, 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 blah. You know? Even with walking around the building with him while he's emptying trash cans and doing whatever. And I liked that. And I was like, oh, he's such a nice guy. But never did I think that he
That he
was
was
even
interested in you.
paying attention. And so we met, and so that was a situation where AJ met Dexter in a work environment where we knew each other, and I guess he considered us friends.
Uh-huh.
And so when we did start dating, he already knew him and liked him, and it just went from there. So again, it wasn't orchestrated; it was God. It's like
So let me back this train up. So you say your husband was the custodian at first?
not at first. My husband is still a custodian.
Well, what
So
does Dexter do?
so
Dexter do a whole lot of jobs.
he does. And so what I didn't know, and I say this and I say it all the time, he has a criminal history. You know, he liked to beat the brakes off of people when he was
Okay,
younger.
I mean, it happens.
He got in some trouble or whatever, but he changed his life. He made, changes or whatever. And so for me, I don't really care about that. As long as you're not doing
Right.
anything
As long as
against
you treat
women
me
or,
good, treat me with
you
respect,
know,
love
you got
me, take care of me. Yep.
right, you ain't got no history with women and children. I'm good.
Right, right.
Like that's your path. Everybody got one. But all I knew was he was a custodian at my job.
Mhm.
And for the longest time, that's all I knew. And then I started noticing, we went out one time and I was like, I might not have money to buy a Rolex, but I love watches.
Mhm.
And I know what the real deal looked like. So we were there and I was like, that's a real Rolex. I can't afford a real Rolex. He the custodian at my job. Hmm.
Wait a minute.
I'm
Hold
checking,
up.
I'm checking out his shoes and I was like, that's some good leather. I don't know what brand it is, but that's real good leather right there.
Not real
Paying
good.
attention.
That's
And
real
so
good leather
he
over there.
right. So he
That's
brings me
good
home
stuff.
and he gets to the door and he's getting ready to leave. I said, no, 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 you need to come in. We need to have a conversation. Men, when you say we need to have a conversation, that's like, oh
Oh,
Lord.
here she go. Mhm.
And so I said to him, I said, listen, if you in them streets, I can't do it. This ain't no game. Like, and I'm talking, saying this ain't no game, and I got my son involved, and I'm just going, and he starts laughing. And I'm like, just laughing
Oh,
at
so
me.
now you think I'm funny.
Like, you think this a joke.
You think it's a joke. I ain't the
Right, right. And he's cracking up. And I was like, the hell? So he said, no, 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 no. I had everything I ever wanted. I got it the wrong way. This time I'm gonna do it the right way. He was like, I drive. He's like, that's why during the day I'm free because I'm driving. My son has a dump truck company. My son, Junior, has a
Mhm.
dump truck company, and I drive for him because you know, he got a job in Atlanta, and I knew that he was a prosecutor in Atlanta, so it made sense. He said he can't run the business from there, so I drive and kind of run it for him from here.
Mhm.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right.
Okay, well, we're dating and dating. We dating a while, long time. So I'm like, that don't really make too much sense. So as it turned out, he actually owned the dump truck company,
Mhm.
but he didn't want to tell me because he wanted to know that I loved him for him.
Dude,
And when
that
he
is
told me,
so
and I
awesome.
believe
Even if he was the janitor or whatever,
hey, I don't care.
and it's just the mere fact that I love to see instances like this because that's how I am, Semino. Like
Yeah.
I don't be like I'm over the checklist. I'm over that. I just want
Bro,
somebody to
'cause
love
I had
me.
the checklist.
If we gonna build, we can build together. Like,
Right,
long as you respect me, respect my kids.
right,
Like, you ain't no murderer or
right,
out here playing with little kids or little boys or whatever. Like,
right,
you're a good person at heart. You
right,
respectable, you trustworthy. You got God in your heart. You know who
right,
the Lord is. Like,
right.
we can build together. But
Right. And that's
man,
and that's what ended up happening. And so we were able to, and I was mad with him for a hot second. I was just like, so basically you was just lying to me. And then I stepped back and I was like, but when I got here, what I realized was that men and women here are very different than
Yes.
where we came from.
Mm-hmm.
And they have different expectations and
Mm-hmm.
different standards. And I'm not going to say right, wrong, or otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
but I just come from a different place and I'm a different kind of person.
Right,
And
right.
so as I reflected on the people I dated and the interactions I had when I first got to this area,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I can't even be mad at him
Yeah.
because
Yeah, I get it
I
too.
know what's
Totally.
out there. Like, I can't be mad at him because of
Yeah,
that.
because that's like, I want to know that you ain't after my money.
Right, right,
You ain't out here trying to buy Birkins and stuff because
right,
I told
right,
you I got a business.
right, right.
Rolex is on now. You want a Birkin.
Right, I was like, bruh, listen, I wanted a Rolex when I graduated with my PhD, and I started looking, and I looked at the used ones, and I was like, ooh, yeah, I'm gonna get me a Boulevard. So
Okay. Yeah. we
I
gonna
was
we gonna
like,
keep hoping for that Rolex, but we gonna
right.
go
I
ahead
was
and get
like,
this Boulevard right
yeah,
now.
I'm gonna get this Boulevard right here. That's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
my graduation present to myself. But yeah, that's what it is. And so, like, on paper, nobody would ever put us together. We don't go together. But let me tell you about God. I need him and he needs me. Together, we just work. It just
Yeah,
works.
that's awesome. Y'all look like y'all so happy
Ooh, the
together.
clown.
He
Oh my
just lights up
God.
your life, and
I
like
was
I've been so
laughing.
happy for you to see, your wedding and everything,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just to see how everything worked out for you. And then when
But
we
you know what?
talk, to know
You've really
like
given me the
you
courage
went
to,
through some of
like,
the similar stuff
no,
that I did, and to see
mhm,
that you
yeah.
was able to get past that, especially with that 6%, girl, because
Girl.
girl, girl. Mm-mm.
No, so I
But
went to the mall.
yeah, I get it. I totally get it.
I went to the mall in Iowa and thought that I would see some people that looked like me, at least in the food court. If they wasn't eating, they'd probably be working there at least.
Not if they wasn't eating, they gonna be working there. Lord have mercy.
I tried it.
Well, I'm glad you got out of Iowa alive.
Actually, so here's the thing. Iowa wasn't bad. I liked Iowa, but my two favorite places to live in the whole world: Overland Park, Kansas, and Lincoln, Nebraska.
What? Okay, Sameana.
It,
Everybody's entitled to what they like.
it's family oriented. In Overland Park, Kansas, literally, there's so much that's geared toward families from like March through October. Like every weekend, there's a whole guide for free family events. It's absolutely freaking amazing. And in Overland Park, it's like suburban heaven. It's like a McDonald's and a Starbucks on every corner. Like,
Oh,
eh,
oh, that excites you. McDonald's and Starbucks.
I mean, it's like suburbia, you know?
It's in the mountains too, I bet.
I'm a suburban chick. Like,
See,
that's what
good
I
girl.
like.
Bye. I need to be right where I'm at, right here in the DMV.
I don't
So,
like the
so I
DMV.
can get to where it's popping at, and then come on back home.
Nah, I'm good. That's why we live in the country. Well, we kind of live in the country now. Kind of.
Right. So I got one more question. Then we're gonna,
All
close
right.
this out. If you could give your younger you advice, what would it be?
Believe in yourself. Despite any. Oh, no, I take that back.
But that was
It
good.
would be, it is, but the bigger one for me would be family is not necessarily blood,
Amen.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Being raised in a place where it's no matter what family does, you're supposed to be there for family.
Yeah.
And family being a blood relation, and coming through the years and getting out of a place where I was sick and being able to look back and reflect, um, that is probably the biggest thing. Family is not about bloodlines.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. You are absolutely right.
And you have to love on those who love on you genuinely.
That's right.
And you have to get rid of toxicity
Yes,
regardless of a bloodline.
you're right.
So if I was to go back, that would be the advice I would give myself, because it would lead to me believing in myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That you can be better than, you don't have to be a product of your environment.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's good. That's good. And you prove that. You prove that you do not have to be a product of your environment. Well,
Right.
all the great accomplishments that you've had, all the things that you've done, the way you've put yourself out there, because I know it took a lot to go through the adoption process. I couldn't even imagine. So, like, just to see you having went through all of that, not finding the love that you thought you were supposed to have
Right.
a child or whatever, you
Right.
allow God to stir you in a direction for your purpose to be the mother to the child that he had for you. Like,
Absolutely.
I know that was definitely a challenge, and being able to shake off, like you said, that stigma or that
Mhm.
ideal of things that we take from home. And
Right.
then you have people in your ear, and you're like, you just want to do what's best for yourself. I just want to do
Yeah.
what's best for me. So I can't have all these interferences.
Mhm.
And that's what you did. And
Yeah.
so my hat's off to you for that.
Thank
And
you. But let me tell you this,
so
and
happy for
this
you.
is spooky. This is spooky, kind of. My son said it was like some Illuminati type stuff.
Mm-mm. Nope. It's
So this is the
Illuminati.
confirmation. This is the confirmation. Two things. One, I have a horizontal line on my head from an injury when I was a young kid.
Mhm.
My son has one that's vertical, and we put our heads together. What does that mean?
Across.
It makes a cross.
Amen.
Second confirmation. We just realized this when he was in 8th grade. I was born on Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday,
Mhm.
January 15th. My son was born on Coretta Scott King's birthday, April
Oh,
27th.
wow. That is so
Confirmation,
dope.
right? Confirmation.
That is so dope,
Right, right.
Yeah. Oh, man, that was so
Yeah,
dope.
yeah, confirmation. It's,
Yeah,
as we get older, we gotta
he's
as
such
we get
a
older, we
handsome
have to
young
look
man, and you have done an amazing job with him.
into
He's getting after it, and I'm sure he's gonna follow in his parents'
I
footsteps.
pray
He's gonna take
he
a little
will.
bit from his dad and a little bit from his mama.
He
He's
got
gonna
the
be out here
world.
doing things.
He got both worlds.
Yeah, yep, yeah, pretty much. Cause Dex got them hands.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Dex got them hands. He
Yes, he
ready for you.
does. Yes, he does. But I told him I'll get in my first fight if he fight anybody else.
Yeah,
That's
Dex
gonna be
got
my
them
first fight.
hands. Y'all better watch out for old Dex.
Look,
Dex got
look,
them
I'm gonna be like this
hands.
right
He's
here.
coming with it.
So look, so his nickname for me is Baby Gangster.
Oh, not baby gangster.
That is his nickname for me, Baby Gangster. He said Baby Gangster, and no, as soon as she hear noise, she about to take off running.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, I just want to thank you for sharing and agreeing to be a part of, my women's history program. I just want to highlight women that I know that are doing amazing in their communities,
Mhm.
in their social environments, in their careers, in their homes. Because I just look at so many different, like you said, family is not always blood, and I have a lot of strong women in my
Right.
circle that are, mentors to me. And,
Sure.
I just get a little bit from all of them. You know what I'm saying? That old saying that you can't be the smartest person in your circle is so true.
Absolutely.
So true. And so, I just feel blessed that I know all of y'all,
Yeah.
I'm able to showcase y'all. And I just want other women to know that, we all go through something. We all got to
Absolutely.
cross the bear. We all got a Damascus road that we going to have to follow in
Yep.
order to get to our purpose. Like, I wish I could say that, you just going to wake up one day, it's going to be there, and every day is going to be, roses, because it's
Right.
not.
It's
Trust and
not.
believe,
It's
it
not.
is not.
But you
So
can get
I'm
through it.
just blessed to have the opportunity to, showcase you guys and continue to learn, because I definitely learn more about you today, and when you and I have talk several times since I've been here in the DMV.
Yeah.
You know, last week, Doc was here dropping nuggets left and right. That's probably why there's a squirrel in the daggone roof right now, because
Oh
she
my
was in here dropping all them nuggets last week.
God.
So the little
Right.
squirrel, you know, every now and then we might hear his little feet. He like running through here right now. But
Right.
I just feel so blessed to have this opportunity. You
Yeah.
know, I just want to thank God for the grace. You know, just to be
Absolutely.
who He designed me to be. You know, I had to go through some stumbling blocks to get here, and you know, I have to push
Right.
every day. Like, you know, walking in your purpose, it don't get easy. Trust
But
me.
look, but
You're
here's
gonna
the
have
thing.
your challenges, and you
Mhm.
like, well, dang, I'm doing what you told me to do.
Right.
Say it was gonna get harder, but you know what? You just gotta believe that, you know, your pot of gold, you get to your pot of gold. Ain't today
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day? Yeah, you get to your pot of gold. So I
Yeah.
know I'm just flourishing in my goals. So, you know, I'm just thankful for you all. I'm thankful for this platform, you know,
Absolutely.
and thank you again for sharing your time and your story with us.
No
And
problem.
you know, just being a great example, especially to the educators, because as you know, my daughter's a preschool teacher. And
Mhm.
my daughter loves being a teacher. Hear
Yeah.
me? My
Yeah.
daughter loves, she's had so many opportunities, and she likes teaching at like preschool level. She, you
Mhm.
know, that's where
Those are the
her
babies.
joy is. And she's had opportunities where she could have went and been an AD, assistant director,
Mhm.
you know, to go on to be a director or whatever, you know, try
Mhm.
to set herself up for that growth. But she just
Right.
said, you know what, mom, you know, I chased the money and I wasn't fulfilled.
Right.
And so I'm just gonna go back to what I love. And she be sending me pictures like, oh, look at my shirt, Miss Dominique and teaches that. And she'd be like, oh, my, ain't it so cute? Like she get excited about teacher t-shirts like I get excited about tennis shoes, you know.
Oh,
I'd be
yeah.
like,
Because
she'd be like,
most
ain't it
of
so
it.
cute, mom? I'd be like, it's real cute, Miss Dominique. And they, you know, she just love it. So right now she's actually teaching at the school that my granddaughter goes to. So, you know,
Okay.
and it's just a joy to see, you know, her in her purpose. And I love to see educators, you know, in their purpose. And I'm actually doing a month that's going to be focused on educators. I want to say is May,
Okay.
because May is Teachers Appreciation Week. So we're going to do a little something, and hopefully in hopes of, you know, giving the parents a little bit more insight to
Mhm.
what educators need, you know, to help their children be successful. Like what you were saying today about how you, when you got that piece, when the light bulb went off to
Yeah.
say, okay, well, I don't have to be an educator because, you know, that's not where the money really is. And I want to go where the money is, but I want to also make an impact. And
Right.
you was able to go into, you know, the statistics or
Yeah.
the
Measurement.
yeah, the measurements behind standardized testing and stuff like that. So I really just want you know, parents, adults,
Mhm.
listeners, you know, just to get you know, where we could help the educators at, because
Right.
ultimately helping the educators is going to help the children,
Right.
and that's what we want to do, because at some point we're not going to be here, so we have
Right.
to pave the way for them. You know,
But-
we don't want them out here figuring it out, you know.
Right. So the one thing that I would like to say before we leave, I want to thank you for having me. This has been great. I would like to say that my husband actually has given me the courage to actually voice how I feel about things, whether it's personal or education or whatever, to get out there and talk about it. So I'm very grateful for that. But the one thing that I would like to express to people is this: you have hard times, I have hard times. God sets us up to go through those hard times because there's something in those hard times there's tools within those hard times that we need to pick up. And if we keep trying to go around the hard times, then we don't pick up the tools we need, right? So
Mhm.
we got to go through the hard times, and it takes a supportive community to help us go through those hard times and pick up what we need, because God already knows there's something else this greater that we're going to have to go through, and if we don't have the proper tools, we're not going to be able to get there. So
Absolutely.
by trying to go around everything, we're extending the time it takes for us to get to what God has for us. And so my message to people would be, stop trying to circumvent the difficult. Go through the difficult and
Just
get what
follow the
you need
path.
so you can stay on that straight line, that straight path, and get to what God really has for you.
Yep, walking in your purpose. Walk in
Absolutely.
your purpose. That's awesome. I appreciate that. So, my good people, I want to thank y'all, thank my audience for sticking it out. I know these episodes for this month, Women's History Month, because women are just dynamic. I mean, like,
Right.
you just can't limit us. You know what I'm saying? So these episodes have been going a little lengthy, but it's okay. It's not even worried about. I might not be able to get a pair of shoes. It's okay.
Get the sneakers though.
Because we're getting some dope information out here. We getting dropping nuggets. The squirrels are coming. Like you just can't pass opportunity up like this,
Right.
But I want to thank the audience for tuning in. I want to thank God for the opportunity to actually be in my purpose and give me the strength to do it, and the knowledge and the foresight. And I want to also thank my bomb production team. They always keeping me on point. And on that note, for next week, we're going to continue our celebration of Women's History Month and honoring women. So, my good people, it is time to say goodbye. So, good night, be blessed, and of course, smooches.